I actually transferred here from Carroll University in Waukesha, and I went there with a major in environmental science, and everybody there kept on asking me why I didn't go to Stevens Point. So I did some research, found out they're like second largest undergraduate natural resource college in the nation, and I felt really stupid for not going here earlier. So I came here and found a whole bunch of like-minded people, and it was not really a decision. Two big things I was looking at in schools were the academics and athletics, and I got to do both really well here. So there are tons of opportunities to get into research and stuff like that, which is what I'm really enthusiastic about. And I feel like if maybe I had gone to a bigger school, like I looked at Madison, I got accepted. They wanted me to run for them and stuff, but I went there and I asked somebody if they had a cross-country team, and the woman who was giving us a tour actually, and you'd think she would know, and she was like, yeah, I think we have a team. And I was like, this is too big. That a small school would really be best for me because all my professors know me and ask me how I'm doing, and email me, correspond, and I feel like I would have just been a number if I had gone to a bigger school, and it would have been really hard to get into research. Maybe my athletic experience would have been different, all of those things. And Stevens Point is one of the best in their academic areas, better than Division I schools, so I feel really blessed with this opportunity. We analyze bat calls, and we have 5 permanent monitoring stations across the state with the Department of Natural Resources, and they just have an abundance of data that nobody was really analyzing, so we kind of volunteered for that, and we've been looking at calls, and because we have so much data, we can ask any question that we want, really, because we have so many statistics on the bat species, and it's actually going to become really important now that white nose syndrome is moving into the state. So we have, it's kind of more morbid, but we have a before picture of our bat species, and now we're going to start looking at the during and after of this disease that's coming. Well, it's really important to understand as much as we can about bat species before they become critically endangered, which we're seeing happening as little brown bats are decreasing rapidly in the eastern United States, where white nose syndrome has been a problem since 2006. So the more that we can learn about the species before we can't study them, the better. So if we find out something about their foraging activity levels, or just the abundance of a certain species in a certain area, that will help us when white nose syndrome does come into the area, and we can see how white nose syndrome is affecting these species. Maybe this knowledge that we gain can help the western United States when they start having to deal with this Earlier, I grew up in the area, so my family lives about a half-hour away. But I was in the woods all the time when I was little. We lived right along the Wisconsin River, and so I grew up, collecting deer skeletons, and my parents would always yell at me, and catching tadpoles, stuff like that. And my fondest memories of my childhood were watching bats off the back porch with my mom. And when I was 4, I think, we got a bat house that all the bats lived in. And my parents, neither one of them have a science background, but they really encouraged me to look for my own answers to questions that I might have. And so I really liked all animals, all that. And my parents really did a nice job teaching me about animals and stuff, so I got really enthusiastic about that. And another great thing about Stevens Point is we have the biggest wildlife society student chapter in the United States. So through them, you can go to state conferences and present research, and national conferences and present research. So I actually found out about bat research when I went to the national conference. When I was a sophomore, I think, or a junior, and I sat in on a presentation that the University of Florida was giving on how they do bat research using their bat calls, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because it was really quantitative, and I really liked that aspect of it. You could really be definitive. It wasn't subjective, it was really objective. This is this species, this is this species. I really liked that, and I always liked the bats and stuff, and because they're so speciose, you can ask a lot of questions about habitat and diversity and evolution because there are so many species in that taxa. So all of those came together, and then I was going on a trip to Hawaii for a biology credit, which was awesome, and I went with Dr. Ujewitz and Dr. Yankee, and I found out that he does a lot of bat research, and one of his students was on the trip with us and did a presentation on it. And I just asked him, like, hey, I'm smart, can I join your research team? And he said, sure, just send me an email. So yeah, I started researching there, and so it was great because it was an awesome animal to begin with, and then I was learning so much about it through my research with Dr. Yankee and his team. And I think it's like the coolest animal ever now. I mean, they sleep upside down. That's awesome, you know? So, and there are tons of puns associated with it. So I hear them all the time. Like that. And it's cool because I have classes, so I have a biology major, so that's with the College of Letters and Science, and that's one group of people. And then you have my wildlife major, which is with the College of Natural Resources, so that's a whole other group of people that I get to interact with. And then my econ minors with, you know, business majors and stuff like that. So I have 3 very diverse groups that I'm a part of, and I like to take pieces from all of those and use those experiences. I was in a fall sport, cross country, and when I transferred in, I was really nervous because everybody already has their own friends and stuff like that. But it was the coolest thing ever because I got on campus a few weeks before classes started for practice, and I basically instantly had 30 new best friends. And they all take really good care of each other, including me taking care of people and getting taken care of. We call each other mom. I don't know why, but you know, we help each other with homework, all that stuff, and feed each other, which is great. So I had a really strong support group right away, right off the bat, and I loved that aspect. And it wasn't, you know, how fast are you or whatever, how good you are at soccer or anything. It was, you know, hey, a new teammate, this is awesome. So I think that friendship was really, really important. Plus it's, runners are kind of insane, and that really helped me balance my stress. I mean, I'm taking a lot of credits every semester, you know, trying to stay on top of things, and if you don't build in that time for yourself, then you'll go insane, you know, and runners are already borderline. So it was really important for me to go for a 5-mile run with my teammates to kind of calm down and, you know, wind down after a really stressful day of classes. And it was really neat because a lot of my teammates had the same major as me and were in my classes. So I automatically had a study buddy and somebody to sit by in class and all of those great things. And it's awesome meeting other people. Like track, you have a very diverse group of people, and you know, I think that's interesting because I wouldn't normally interact with those people, and I've made some really awesome friends that I have, you know, nothing in common with except for a strong, you know, drive to work really hard, you know, and try to, you know, impress our coach. You have to be insane to join a sport because that's an extra, I've done the math, what, 30 some hours a week if you count, you know, driving to Indiana and staying overnight in the hotel and then sitting at a track meet all day and then driving, you know, 10 hours back and then driving to Nebraska, and then, you know, so I mean, it's a huge time commitment, but if you're good at a sport, you should definitely do athletics. If you're not that good and you don't really have a drive to get better, then it's not for you. I mean, you're gonna be putting in, I work out 3 hours a day, you know, and that's almost not enough. So you have to really, really, really want it. But if you really, really want to do well and excel and push yourself really hard and feel that satisfaction of actually attaining a higher level of competition while building these lifelong friends that you'll have for forever, then you should definitely do it. It really helps both mentally and physically. You know, I'm in the best shape of my life, and I have the best friends I've ever had, and I'm faster than I was in high school, which is really cool seeing my improvements from high school. Again, it's huge time commitment, so it's definitely not for everyone. And as far as academics go, one big thing that I've noticed that really helped me is getting to know my professors. They all have office hours. We're not taught by TAs or anything, which is really nice. And they encourage you to go to their office hours, and they encourage you to get to know them. So, I mean, if you have any question in your class, go and ask them and tell them, hey, like, you know, my name's Anna. What's your name? Hopefully you'll know their name, but, you know, stuff like that. And then they get to know you, and if you have to miss a day because of competition, they know that you're a hard worker already, and they're more likely to help you and, you know, help you understand the material. I mean, that's their job. If they're not getting their message to you, then there's no point in going to class or anything. And you really have to want to learn and read. Like, read a book. There are so many people who are brainwashed by their families and just, you know, accept those traditions as fact and all that stuff, but really if you just ask questions and have this curiosity and get to know more people and understand more things and read more and learn more, I mean, you'll develop into a person that you really want to be, and you really are passionate about everything that you're passionate about and want to tell people about. And I think that's awesome. That's a great thing about college, no matter where you go. So if you can really have that drive to learn, I think that's super important. I've applied to a bunch of grad schools. I want to get a PhD in evolutionary ecology, which is a branch of biology. And I'm really interested in bats as the species that I would like to study certain phenomena on. So I've applied to a lot of places, and we'll see where I end up. And then after that, I'll probably get a postdoc somewhere and do more research, just asking questions. I want to get a scientific paper published. That's my short-term goal. I would just be happy if I'm continuously learning, really. So wherever I can do that, that would be brilliant. I have a job for this summer, I'm studying bats and studying bats, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, ultimately I'd like to teach people, whether I'm a high school biology teacher or a professor or something. I'd like to be a professor because then I can do more research. And I think it'd be awesome to just show people how cool the natural world is. And I think getting people excited about things so that they go out and want to learn is what I would like to do. I'm not sure how I'll do that, but that's what I want to do. Save the world. Everybody wants to save the world. So that's what I want to do.